A lot of buyers are entering the market completely unprepared. And honestly, some of the mistakes that we see are costing people thousands of dollars, necessary stress, and sometimes even the wrong house altogether. So today we're going to break down 10 things every buyer needs to know before buying a house. My name is Joseph Givens. I've got Landon and Madison here, two of our best agents here at Realty One Group Legends. We serve the Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, and Huntsville areas all around Alabama. So today we're just going to talk about these 10 topics, things that you need to know going into buying a house. All right.
Yes. And the first point that we're going to get into is number one, your payment matters more than the price. There are a lot of things that go into that monthly payment. Taxes, insurance could be one of them, HOA, if that was an HOA development that you're looking at. So we definitely want to make sure that we have an understanding of how much monthly we are wanting to spend on the properties that we're looking at. So that's something that you need to look into, possibly talk to a lender. We don't want you to be up in the air about that. So I definitely would get you in contact with some local lenders if that's something that you're wanting to figure out. We don't want you to become house poor. So that's why we do trying to send you to local experts that can be upfront with you about what will be needed each month. A house can technically fit your approval and still completely wreck your monthly budget. If you're wanting to know what that monthly budget is for you, comment lender down below and we can get you in contact with some local lenders here.
Yeah, absolutely. Lender is very important. In fact, the finances are the single biggest issue that we're seeing right now, and people hesitating or their decision making process when it comes to buying a home. That leads me into our second point. Don't wait for the perfect interest rate. And some of the things that we see are people that have sat around the last few years and they're just waiting for interest rates to come down. They're waiting on home prices to come down and all these things that they're hearing and they believe. But what is really happening is the house that would have been perfect for them, for their situation, whatever, that they loved, it's still getting sold. And so somebody else is buying the house and they're missing out on opportunities to improve their family life and their personal life. And so here's what I would say to that. Don't wait for the perfect interest rate because refinancing exists. And so we have this idea in real estate, do I marry or date the rate? And I would say, marry the house, date the rate because you can refinance. We do expect rates to come down. Obviously, we don't have a crystal ball. I can't guarantee anything, but I can guarantee you this. I know a lot of people who have sat around on the sidelines and waited, and then they look up and they're like, man, I probably should have bought this property, 3, 4 years ago. And because what's happened to the properties, they kept increasing in value. And so appreciation is going to happen whether you buy or not. So I would say you can refinance later, but you can't go back and buy yesterday's prices.
Absolutely.
That's right, Joseph. Those monthly payments and interest rates, are tough to navigate sometimes, but having the right agent can definitely help you navigate those things. Having the right agent can also help you with negotiations, contracts, inspections. Having a local agent, is going to open the door to, you having access to that local knowledge and possibly even some off-market opportunities. Like we talked about before, out of state agents or agents from the other side of the state, they may not always be, up to date on all the local MLS laws and stuff like that. So you always want to have a local agent, and if you think it'd be worth 5 minutes of your time to, talk about some of those things, comment agent below and we can take 5 minutes and talk to you and answer any of those questions you might have and put your mind at ease.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
because especially when people are looking on Zillow, house hunting has become easier, more accessible, but every house kind of can get to be looking the same. And in real life, they
Yeah.
definitely aren't. And we've seen that a lot, that pictures can be deceiving, but getting out there can look a little different. But anyways, on Zillow, every house looks the same, but in real life, they definitely aren't. So get with your agent, talk with them so that you guys can set up a showing and go out there and actually put eyes on it.
That's right. The cheapest house isn't always the cheapest long term either. With homeownership comes hidden maintenance costs, insurance. Uh, repairs come up from time to time. They have to be taken care of. You also have to think about what your long term plan is. And maybe sometimes think about the resale value of the home. all of these things are very important, when it comes to homeownership. Sometimes a cheaper house now could be a expensive mistake down the road, so that's always something to think about.
Yeah, no
Absolutely.
doubt. We all see a lot of clients, take the better deal, and then they call later and they're like, "Oh, man, I got to replace the roof," or this foundation issue. Years later when they go to sell the property is still an issue. So yeah, we absolutely see that all the time. It's not a right or wrong answer, is it, guys? It's just we're providing as much information as we can about the properties. Ultimately, it's your decision. Life is just decisions. It's not right or wrong. It's what you're comfortable walking into. So be careful about the cheapest houses. Just kind of know what you're getting into.
Absolutely. And to that point, we want you to be comfortable. But when you walk into these properties, we want you to look past some of the smaller things, some of those small cosmetic issues at times. There could be paint, flooring, maybe some outdated fixtures. Initially, we might not like that, but we try, to look past those kind of things. Also to the other side, not just a buying side, but a selling side. If you're wanting to sell your property, a lot of people think, oh, I got to do all these things before I put my property on the market. Some things you should, some things you may not have to. And so if you're kind of in between, how much should I put into my home? Should I do some rehab? Should I just sell it as is? Whatever, your situation may be. You can comment HGTV below and we can get with you and talk to you and see what you're thinking about doing and what maybe probably would be best to save your money on. We don't want you to spend too much and come out under. So we can tell you what you should and shouldn't do.
Yeah, absolutely. It could save buyers and sellers a lot of time on both sides just getting a professional opinion. So please don't hesitate. Use us. That's what we want to do for you. And it costs you nothing. So on that, the sixth thing that you should know, Madison, tell us about that.
Is location matters more than almost anything. So,
Hmm.
a big thing that you need to look at is where do we work? Where do our kids go to school? Where are our lifestyles surrounding? So, if that's family, friends, that's a lot, especially now with gas prices. We're having to drive places, we're having to go see our people. So, figuring out where that location you're comfortable with, finding that radius maybe, and making sure, even when you go commute, and I like people looking around the neighborhoods and doing the commute and say, hey, this is something I can do. Hours matter. We don't want you stuck in your car for more hours than you get to spend at that home after work because you're paying a lot to live there. So you can change almost anything about a house except where it is. I know we've talked about before. Clients always say, I wish I could pick this house up and put it right here. And I wish we could do that for them, but unfortunately we can't. So looking at that location initially is really important just to help that search. And then you're not having to go in a million directions to find maybe where we really need to stay.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, Landon, tell us about the seventh thing we need to know.
Well, a lot of times you need more cash than you think you do, Joseph. A couple of different things that go into a real estate transaction that people don't always think about, especially first-time home buyers. You got to have some earnest money. That earnest money shows the seller how serious you are about purchasing the property. If you come with a weak offer with not a lot of earnest money, they might not take you serious, and just kind of throw that offer to the side and not really put much into it. Another thing you got to think about are inspections and appraisal gaps. Uh, Inspections are very important when it comes to purchasing a property. You don't know who's lived in there always. You don't know what's been going on with that property in the past. So getting it checked out by a qualified inspector can go a long way for you, and possibly any hidden repairs or anything that may have to happen that might make you change your mind about purchasing the property in the first place. Another thing you got to think about are moving costs. I don't know where you're coming from, but that's another thing. You got to move, and then you got to fill the house up with furniture. If you do buy it, so there's a couple of different things you might need cash for when you're purchasing the property. So it's a good idea to keep in mind that closing day isn't always the finish line when it comes to needing some cash on hand to get a transaction done.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. And it's not all bad. I mean, everything, in life that's worth it, it's going to cost you a little bit. But, picking out furniture and appliances is a lot of fun too. So I have a lot of clients that are, more than happy to redecorate a new home and kind of make it their own space. But yeah, just kind of plan accordingly with all of that in mind. Like you said, the inspections and whatnot, that's all part of it. Number eight thing that you need to know is a fun one, the internet. And the internet tells lies about real estate are a shocker, right? Man, one of the biggest things that we see is this whole Zestimate inaccuracy. Zillow is such a good platform as far as navigating the maps and finding properties and all of that. It's just kind of what people are used to.
Mhm.
So look, nothing against it, but if you're looking to sell your home and you go, well, man, my Zestimate says it's worth $500,000, just know that Zestimate a lot of times can be 50 to $75,000 off on the high or even low side sometimes.
Mhm.
Usually it's high, but just know that, just because some website on the internet or some influencer on the internet says, hey, this is what your house is worth, this is what you should do or can do, pump the brakes on that is what I would say. A lot of people send me links to Zillow and they're like, oh, I love this house, this is the one we want, and I go look it up in the MLS, which is the multiple listing service, and well, that's been pending for over a week now, so Zillow is the thing about it, it's not directly tied into the MLS like in real time. So, use it, but send it to us and just say, hey, what is this still active? And what do you think about this property? We'll give you the most up to date information on there. And so the other thing I want to talk about is kind of TikTok, Instagram, things like that. Man, you see influencers everywhere talking about real estate. And I think it's all well intended, but just keep in mind they're after the likes and the shares and growing the channel. Some of the things that they say on there aren't exactly true. Or, for instance, what someone says about properties in California or New York aren't necessarily the same here. Real estate is hyper local, and so advice from a realtor in California is certainly not going to apply to our market here. So just be careful about what you hear on on the internet. Hey, just run it by us. Like, we're not offended by it, but just run it by us. Say, hey, is this true? Is this right? If you've got any questions, as far as it comes to home value, especially one of the easiest things you can do to get the most accurate information. If you're sitting there and you go, hey, we're thinking about moving in the next, 6 to 12 months, and I really want to know what my house is worth, all you have to do, comment home value. We'll run the numbers for you. It's totally free. We'll come see the house in person. It costs you nothing. We want the opportunity to serve you. And so we do that by free home evaluations. Again, this is hyper local. This is by a licensed professional agent in your area. All you got to do is comment home value. We'll run that for you. We'll have it to you within 24 hours for sure. So, yeah, take advantage of that. Again, it's kind of the message of this whole video so far. Just take advantage, like use us. That's what we're here for. Don't
Let
be
us
afraid of us. Absolutely. Let us help. So, Madison, number nine, tell us about it.
Well, we do not want you to fall in love too fast. In real estate, we are about time. Time is the essence, but we don't want you to make an emotional decision. This is a lot of equity to be putting into something. So you want to make sure that you're not overlooking any problems. That's why we've talked about inspections. We want to make sure those inspections are done. We don't want to we don't want to worry too much about competition, but we want to take it into consideration. If there are offers and other things, we should consider them, but we don't want to make a decision based on that as well. It has to fit you and it has to fit what you want. And we also don't want you to overpay. If you're making an emotional decision, sometimes when we really, really want something, we tend to overpay for it because we want it right then.
Hey, we
Instant
saw
gratification.
so many people in the last, 4 years or so way overpay for properties. And now they're in a situation where they need to sell. And I just have to be honest with the numbers. Yeah, to your point, be careful.
Oh,
Ask
yeah.
the right agent.
Absolutely. And excitement is good, but emotional decision making usually isn't. So we want to make sure that we make smart decisions along with those emotional ones.
Yeah, yeah. I think I see a lot of sales training out there. And just to be quite frank with you, so much of that plays on the emotions of people in
Mhm.
sales language. And they use that as fuel to get you to do something. And so, I can't speak for other people. I just know our agents at Realty One, there's a level of integrity there that we're going to treat you with and care. because we do want to get to know you genuinely. And so sometimes people just want to go see a house real quick. We certainly can do that. But ultimately, we have to get to know you so that we can help give you the best guidance along the process. So the final thing we need to talk about, though, is buy for your life, not just for the market. And that's kind of what we were alluding to, right? One of the biggest things I see mistakes, I guess, and I see this on the back end. And you tell me if you agree or not, but like I see this on the back end where I get a call from somebody and they're like, "Hey, we need to sell our house." Okay, great. We go look at it, give them the valuation, talk about the steps, and it comes down to the math. And again, the situation that they got themselves into. Sometimes they bought a great house, but it didn't fit their lifestyle. I
Hmm.
just don't have enough storage, or maybe they're outdoorsy. They got a boat or something like that, and now I got a issue with the HOA with where I can park my boat, and just all kinds of issues that come up. Or well, we thought we could make a 3-bedroom work, and we're just outgrowing that. So lifestyle fit is probably one of the main reasons, main factors in buying a home. So buy for your life, not just for the market, just because it's a good deal or just because it's a beautiful home, and maybe it has the right location. But if it doesn't fit your lifestyle, let's pump the brakes a little bit.
Absolutely. And you want to think about, your family's plans. If, you are planning on growing, that's something that you should look at. We want you to think about your long-term goals. We don't know exactly when things are going to happen, but if you have a good idea, those are good to know when it comes to looking at properties, the room and space that you need, extracurriculars as well. I like to ask people, where are your friends? Where are your family? If they're local, then I kind of know, hey, these are the people they frequent. We need to make sure that if they're wanting to see them, that they're not out of the way to go see the people that they love. A home is what you make it, but your family is also someone that you want to be able to come and let them see your place, and friends and family. So we also want you to have that stability and that peace where you're not feeling like you're pulled away from a life that you wanted just because you wanted to be in this home. The best home isn't always the one with the best investment potential, but it's the one that actually fits your life. And we just want to make sure that you find that perfect fit.
Yeah.
House hunting is hard. It is emotional, but it can be strategic. And that's why we're here. That's what local agents are for. We're here to, like you've said, learn you, find out what you need. This isn't for us, this is for you. And we're here to look at the market to put you in it where you need to be and where you want to be. So we want to help anyone that we can. And, we've said it multiple times, but comment anywhere. If you want to
Yeah.
just comment below any questions you may have throughout this video. We're more than welcome to answer them, and message us if you want to as well. We can call you from there. If you don't want to leave a comment, shoot us a message.
No doubt, no doubt. We're going to leave some links below, just to our websites and things like that. We'll link directly to the home evaluations. We'll link to just our website in general. Again, if you're using Zillow or Realtor or Homes or whatever it is, just know our websites work just as good at that, and they're directly tied into the MLS. So you can look at one on another platform, but you can double check it on ours as well. We encourage you to do that. From there, you can also reach out to us individually. And obviously, we just want to help you. I hope you hear the genuineness of what we're saying, and that we do genuinely care about you. We do want to earn your trust. And I have no doubt, because of the track record that we have, you're going to be pleased working with us. There's going to be a trust built there, and you're going to see why Realty One Group agents are just a little different in the way we do things. And it's about you, more than anything else. So hey, if you're thinking about buying anywhere in the Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Huntsville areas, we have agents all around the whole area. We can help you through the process. We can help you avoid some of these mistakes that we've talked about today. So, you can text us directly. You can click the links to find us, or whatever you want to do. Hey, we're here to help you. Comment as well. I mean, there's so many things we're going to cover, future topics. Maybe you've got a question about real estate, comment and let us know. Send us a message. Hey, I'd like you to do a video about this, or we can bring a lender on even. We can do all of these things. So, hey, like and subscribe, share, send it to somebody that may benefit from this. We obviously want to help out a lot of people here. So, hey, ask any buying questions you want. We just want to be here to serve you and help you. So, thank you for your time. We'll see you on the next one.